Well, hello and welcome to Little State Big Voices. We are on episode 3 of our Peri and Menopause series with our besties. My bestie, Tracy. How are you?
Hey y'all.
So we brought in, Robbie's back. She missed out last week, and we brought in Teresa, who has been one of our number one supporters, and she's been on the podcast before. We talked about her being 60 plus and absolutely fabulous. Gonna bring her in right now.
She's the OG in the game.
Hello.
She is. Hello.
Hey, everyone. Hi, ladies.
Hey,
Robs.
Guys. How's it going?
Good.
Staying
cool. Trying to stay cool.
What's the fans? Everybody's looking at me. Oh, y'all are hot. I actually am a little warm. I was not expecting the 75 degrees today. I walked outside with, this shirt is light, it's cotton, but it's a full shirt. And some jeans. I was burning up outside. Burning up. And looking at cars.
Why am I trying to be cute wearing a blazer right now?
You in your house, girl.
It's working though.
That's the crazy part.
I don't know. I don't know what to tell you.
If anything pops off,
you got it. Okay.
My trusty friend. I feel good for now.
To invest in some of the to-go fans. I have a little fan at my desk at work, and then of course the big fan in my bedroom, but I don't have like the little fans. I got to get on it. And Teresa, you were just telling us you have what, like a whole bucket full?
99.
Got two. And some stashed away, little here, little there. Yeah.
But to be clear,
I need one right now because I'm feeling like,
oh wow,
hot.
Oh, here, let me give you some air, Teresa. You feel that? But yes. To be clear,
everybody has a. Oh, I don't have nothing.
You need the chargeable one. Let's be clear, because them battery operated ones.
No. Absolutely.
You need the USB.
Mm-hmm.
Lord, you get caught when them batteries go.
So today we're talking about the mental health part of, perimenopause and menopause. I have not experienced the rage, and I really wanted to bring in a good friend of mine, Cynthia, who wanted to specifically talk about this, but this time of night is hard for her. But several women that I've been talking to are going through just these roller coaster of emotions, and I don't think I had that. Did you guys? Like crying and angry and just so now. When I was getting my period, pre-menopause, definitely. It would feel like the bubbling of emotion. I would cry off a McDonald's commercial, no joke. Depressed a lot. So, but another good friend of mine, she's like really going through a deep depression, but and she's speaking with her doctor, which is a good thing, and she's getting medication for it, which is a good thing, but it's all because of her menopause. And like, again, I haven't suffered that, so you guys don't have any experience with that either?
No, not for me.
Yeah.
Fortunately.
What I would say, I'm just going to go back just a little bit on your previous podcast that you kind of covered. So I had a partial hysterectomy. I can't remember what the age was. Like, I just can't. I don't know if it was like upwards of 40 or just beyond 50. And it might have been just like late 40s. I got my first hit with the heat, like a week before my 50th birthday. And I don't know where I was, but this thing came from back here and came right up over my head like this and like swooped down.
Sounds familiar.
I was literally on fire. And it's the whole dripping of the body. Now, when I had the partial hysterectomy, they say you could go into, menopause. So I was praying that that didn't happen. But what happens to the body, whether it's partial or full hysterectomy, is all of those feelings that you get when you have your cycle, like, your
Mm-hmm.
tenderness of your breast,
Mm-hmm.
just all the stuff, the emotions and everything like that. So I still had some of those symptoms, which was kind of strange because it's like, okay, ain't nothing happening here, but I'm got all this stuff going on.
Yeah.
I would say that I there were times I wasn't emotional,
Mm-hmm.
but I probably was maybe a little withdrawn. And then I would, I'd get angry like really quickly, have lack of patience. Like I always grew up kind of being I felt like very patient, a very patient person. I'm like
Mm-hmm.
so far from that, like so far from that. That's what I am experiencing. And now at my current age, being I'll be 66 in August, I'm
Wow.
still having some symptoms, but not like what I used to have.
Mm.
I don't get hot flashes as much as I did before. Now I am a cover on, cover off, cover on, cover off all night long. I get into bed in pajamas and wake up with nothing on. It's just, and then I get up and I'm cold, and I'm reaching for the robe because I can't get out of bed because I'm so cold. So it's just like that's the struggle. But I haven't really had any really major mood swings.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That not rage. I've had rageful moments, but it depends on what the situation is.
Right.
I don't know if I could connect that with menopause or just the fact that somebody done really pissed me off.
Mm-hmm.
I can relate to that. I definitely know rage, but now that you put it that way, definitely, because I'm a very laid back and calm person. So
Yeah.
I can be short. And I'll act like talk to myself sometime, and I catch myself like in my head when people are actually saying something to me while I'm looking at them. In my head, I'm like, Robbie, just don't say nothing. Just relax, relax. It's all right, so I'm mindful of it, but not any real rage, but
Mm-hmm.
more so of just shortness. The patience level is different, but no crying and all that. So I could be crying though when we start talking about weight gain.
Wait a
That
minute.
then I'll start crying.
I did just have a doctor's appointment today, and, and the
How'd that go?
the 5 extra pounds that I saw, I'm like, oh my God, I can't. I'm like, ooh, ooh,
That was your
ooh, ooh.
clothes. That was
I
your
get on
That's
like
clothes.
this.
not the way. You don't know what I'm having for dinner.
I say, don't say nothing. I'm getting on like this. Just write it down.
Now that's smart.
The clinical assistant, I said, do you mind if I take your weight? I was like, yeah, I do. He was like, he was like, why are you giving me a hard time? I said, you asked.
Don't ask.
Mm-mm. Just tell me to get on the scale, sir.
Does your doctor's office do the whole, depending on what season it is, they give you the allotment of clothing and stuff?
No,
Mine
My
does.
doctor's office does that. Yeah. So when you come in there with them, but I'm taking them off. I'd be like, you need to hold on. I'm taking stuff off. The shoes are
oh
coming off.
yeah.
This is coming off.
I
But
take
they give you the clothing. They'll say, oh, it's winter time. We tend to wear heavier clothes. So we're going to give you a nice buffer.
Yeah, but
no
how much
buffer
is the
because I
buffer? Because
basically
the buffer never
took
even
stuff
helped
off.
me.
Yeah, I think
So
I
it's
should have
like,
took my sweater off. That's what it was. I had a sweater on.
It
You'd
was the
be
clothes.
surprised how much when you weigh yourself. Like when I would do the weighing of myself, I am butt naked, and I have
Sure.
so many charms on my Pandora bracelet that comes off now
Right.
too. Okay, everything.
The
Uh,
rings, everything. Everything gotta go.
listen, none of that. Only thing I have on is this one because it's too hard to get off. But
Right.
this Pandora bracelet, oh, that's definitely coming off when I weigh myself. Go to the bathroom, we pee in the morning,
Yeah,
all of
you
it,
gotta get all the
yeah.
all
liquid,
of it.
girl. Get
Hmm.
your stomach empty. All of that, for sure.
All of it.
Yeah,
All of it.
I had used the bathroom, so I was good. I was good.
I like to
Take
weigh
maybe three,
myself
three.
first thing in the morning and at night to see what the difference
Oh,
is.
you
Yes.
brave.
To
And so,
kind of,
what's the
Usually
difference?
be
What's the
heavier at
difference?
night.
Yeah.
For me,
3 pounds
some,
or so.
sometimes it could be as much as 3 pounds at
It's
night.
wa- it's
It'll be a
Okay.
water.
pound
It's
difference
yeah.
more
It's
at night than it is when I first wake up. So, but regardless,
Miss
it
Robbie
doesn't mean that
over there
you're
sipping on a
still
cocktail.
overweight.
Complaining about my weight gain.
Uh-huh. It
Robbie,
look like an apple martini to me.
is that your trigger in your hand?
Yes. That's why I'm double fisted. I'm drinking with this one and fanning with this one.
I like the system. I love the system. I love the
But part,
system.
part, but part of the journey is know thyself. You
Mm-hmm.
Right.
know, that's
Yes.
why you came prepared. You know who you are and what your body needs. You
You
came
got this.
prepared.
Got
So the
this.
funny thing is the type of alcohol does play a part. White liquor will make me hotter like in a second. You know, I
Really?
can drink my dark and be over. I can be fine. I might get a little warm, but I can just.
Right.
But the white liquor, whoo, it's
That's
like.
it. Interesting.
Yeah. Well,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know because
That's why I
I'm
don't
not
drink white
drinking.
liquor that much anymore.
Mm.
Yeah, I
Mm,
definitely feel
Yep.
a little
makes
bit of
sense.
a flare when I have
Ain't
a
nothing
alcohol.
stopping you, Robbie.
Robbie's like, I'm gonna have my dessert. Stop
We just
playing.
And it's white liquor too. It's like
Yeah, like
a
Teresa was just saying, she's coming up on 66. She was saying she doesn't have as many symptoms as she once did. So seems to be some light at the end of the tunnel.
but wait a minute. She been in that tunnel for like almost 16 years though.
Yes, yes,
Uh,
yes.
but
But I will say,
also we
in the
said
beginning,
black women suffer it longer than other races. Suffer
Earlier,
menopause
yeah.
longer.
yeah, we get it. It starts earlier for us.
They still on us. You see what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Can't catch a break.
Nope.
But wait,
It
but
is. It really
it's
is like a roller coaster ride.
but it's the price we pay for
To be
for
so
for
fat.
black not cracking. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
that's
I'll
true.
take it. I'll take it.
That's
But
true.
And I love the summertime. So, I love the hot sun and being outside and everything. I'm okay when it's the summertime. I'm on the beach. I can dip in the water,
because you have
cool off,
options
come
to
back.
have a summery outfit on, like, but it's those moments when you have to have like a full outfit on, and then that flare up hit.
Especially wintertime.
But I
Mhm.
wanna I wanna comment on the rage thing. So I
Yeah.
I feel like sometimes I do pop off, and I don't know if it's the menopause or just the wisdom that comes with age.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, a lot of it is that I've been mentally saying to myself, when I hit 40, here's what I'm not going to take anymore. When I hit 50, here's what I'm not going to put up with anymore. So I think that's part of, now when I say rage, I can contain myself. But there are times when I may have a tantrum or two. I ain't gonna lie. I don't know if it's menopause or it's just like what I'm no longer willing to put up with.
Hmm.
So
Right.
I'm good, like, on a whole. I think I take it out more on men than I do when I'm like really, really testy with men about certain things. And yeah, I can get emotional now that I think about it. But that might just be who I am
yeah,
Hmm.
and that's the
because
thing.
I'm
It could
pretty
be
spoiled.
personality. And I think a lot of things people are starting to throw on menopause, like, oh, it must be menopause. But it's almost like the
I
same
wish a
stereo.
motherfucker would say that.
Okay, okay. I
I
feel like
wish
it's the
I wish
same.
somebody would say that to me.
It's the same stereotype, like they used to say, well, she must have PMS or whatever. No, sometimes we're really getting fucked over and we feel bad about it and we don't like it and we're either frustrated, so we're
Hmm.
crying about that, or we're sad, so we're crying about that. I'm not a big crier. I'm gonna be honest with you. I
Mm-hmm.
can't. But
I am.
I
I'm
will
a
I will
huge
get
fan.
mad as hell though.
I am too. Give me something that really
Uh-huh.
touches me. I
Happy
can
or
be like,
sad,
ooh,
either one. I'm
you know,
definitely shedding some tears.
yeah,
My
But I also, what you were saying, Tracy, you can tell the difference when it's a hormonal kind of sadness, or because I feel like even with the rage, it's so much deeper than anything else
yeah,
that I have experienced. And I'm only going from the experience of like right before my period when I would be PMSing. That was the most uncontrollable I've ever felt. at times. And I
Mm.
did have a bout of depression, I feel like one time in my life, where now if I feel like I'm getting depressed, I will reach out and tell somebody that
Mm.
I really don't feel who I am, because it's I can't even describe it. I'm trying to. It's so much different than, oh, I feel sad. It's
Mhm.
like really being in a black tunnel, or that rage being, so internal, and just it coming out. It's uncontrollable. So I have been at that times, but I don't feel I have been there in the last 5 years since I've been going through perimenopause and menopause. I haven't felt it.
Mm.
Mm.
I would say, it's situational probably for me in terms of
Hmm.
that. I want to say, kind of like what you said, Tracy, when I turned 40, I was like, okay, that marks like a different stage in my life. When I turned 50, that definitely was like, you can't tell me nothing. At this age, you absolutely can't tell me anything. And I have noticed for myself, there has been times, I would say probably in the last 2 years, where it has been, I have had a moment or two or three that has been really fire in terms of, my expression of
Hmm.
how I was feeling, or what was happening at that particular time, where I would not have and had not really before, because I kind of really like to treat things in a particular way. So
Hmm.
I never really wanted to come out and be like that angry. I had angry moments when I was younger, but that was different. That wasn't related to, that wasn't adult stuff,
Hmm.
at that
Mhm.
particular time. Yeah. So but I am like Shahida, I will be emotional, whether it's something happy or sad, I can. Um, it depends on what the situation is, but
And that I
Mhm.
make no excuses for. I'm fine with that.
yeah,
I'm
no,
Right.
fine that I can be
Yeah.
very empathetic with situations, like I said. But the rage in the emotion, or like, I was listening to one of my friends, because we've been talking about it like consistently, getting older, and especially going through the menopause. And we touched on this last week about the shame of it and not feeling like a woman. And I know I rush towards menopause because I'm thinking, oh my God, this is what I want. I want to be in the position where I don't have to worry about birth control. I can do whatever I want to do, or, my body is going to calm down some.
Mm.
And hearing other women claim how they don't rush to that because they equate that with being part of their sexual drive, which I understand. If you lose that, that is a big deal. But then also feeling that they are not as attractive to men, like, just on the
Really?
basis, not even their looks, because has your look changed since you started going through menopause, or is just your lack of being able to have a child? That would
Mm.
that. But
mm,
then, of course, all the other things do kind of incorporate into that, and that being, the weight gain. Your body does change some, but not feeling like you're woman enough because you can't have children. That was a stunner for me. That people our age still feel that way. I can see that a decade or two ago, but not in 2025.
Mm.
well,
So,
honestly, when I had my partial hysterectomy, obviously that was the thing that wasn't going to happen to me. I have, one son, but, and at the time, my husband and I were just friends. And the reason why I had to have that partial hysterectomy was because of fibroids. And
Mm.
I had degenerative fibroids, which I came off a flight from New York, was in Logan, got sick, started feeling sick at the airport, had to go outside. It was in November because I needed that cool air because I was hot, like on fire, and
mm,
had to sit down. Got home, literally crawled in the house,
Mm.
taken off everything, my jewelry, everything. Everything had to come off of my body. Made a phone call or two to my sister, and she made a phone call. She was like, "Get to the hospital," and so that's how I ended up having it. But one of the things I would say to women, and obviously a lot of women of color have fibroids. I didn't. This is the whole conversation around not knowing the things that have happened to our family members prior that were not discussed. And I had a doctor who really wanted to do this surgery, and I wouldn't let him. Now I'm literally that sick, like I need to have this surgery. But his bedside manner was
Mm.
horrible.
Mm.
I'm only here until Thursday, so you got to make a decision
Oh
today.
no.
And I was not making a decision today.
Mm-hmm.
And another doctor came in that I talked with. It was a woman, and she really explained things to me. Now, mind you, I'm on the phone. I'm talking to my sister. I don't even. I can't remember if I had an iPad. I don't think I had an iPad. I had something that I could look up, but I got some more information. Realized that this is the journey that I'm on, and it was challenging for me because I knew I wasn't going to be able to have any more children.
Mm-hmm.
So now, fast forward, I didn't get married until 2 years ago, to almost 2 years ago. So, I wasn't going to have any more children, but there is something maternal, for a lot of women who want to have another child, who may think they want to have a child, or who you think that because you can't have children, that the person that you may be interested in may want children and you can't have them. That
Mm-hmm.
was also something that was in my head. And my thing was, well, if you want to go have kids, go on and have them and come back when you finish. um but I can't have kids, and that's a real situation for a lot of women.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously there's alternatives today
Mm-hmm.
to do IVF. That
Yeah.
is quite a bit of money.
And it's
Mm-hmm.
painful. It is painful.
Yeah,
It doesn't always work. It's a
yeah.
lot to do in vitro fertilization and things like that.
I had
So
a friend. I had a friend who came to Boston to do that. Had her treatments here, and she never had. It was never successful. Her and her
Mm.
husband end up, their marriage ended for a number of different
Yeah.
reasons, but she never had any children. And
The
you
women that
know,
I've talked to who feel that because they are going through menopause and not, they already have children now.
so
You
when
yeah,
I mean,
yeah. I'm not
yeah.
going
So
through menopause.
I want to
What
chime
you
in
say
on
the other
that
day? Like,
though.
we're not having no menopause babies around here.
No taint life, baby. So I want to chime
you
in
don't
on that.
want that. I mean, I can see if you've never had children, you
Yeah.
start perimenopause and you feel like, okay, I'm
Right.
missing my time right now. But if
Or
Mm-hmm.
you've already had
or the women.
and you equate getting your period to your womanhood, that part I don't understand.
Yeah.
Um, that part I don't understand, but I'm empathetic to it because your feelings are your feelings. Uh, but it does surprise me when I hear women who are of a certain age, my age, saying that, that's the part that missed. Now, I'll tell you right now, and Robbie, you said it a couple of weeks ago offline, but I agree with you. If I could go back and get my period, I would drag that friend right next to me. I would go because you do not realize how it regulates so much of your
Yeah.
body, even with the PMS.
Right.
I
Right.
would still go back and have her sitting right next to me, like, "What's up, Ruby?"
Mm-mm.
I
Okay,
would.
I have a few thoughts here.
Okay. You're
Listening
like,
to
hell no.
listening to everything Teresa was saying. So I just want to say that womanhood, what makes women feel like a woman is unique to all of us. So I remember being in my 20s with coworkers also in their 20s, maybe early 30s, a woman who had two biological children tell me that she didn't feel like she was a woman because she had two C-sections. So we're not even at menopause
Mm.
yet. We're not even at perimenopause yet. You're the mother of two children that you housed in
Carried.
your body for 9 months apiece. and you're telling me you don't feel like a woman because you didn't have a vaginal delivery. So these
Wow.
sometimes these are tropes that we put on ourselves or that our environment, leads us to believe. To me, I knew that having my period meant womanhood. It meant, intro to womanhood. But losing my period, and I guess, that's kind of the way to describe it, because my period just disappeared on me one day in
Mhm.
my 30s because of my IUD. I strongly believe it was the IUD. I never felt like less of a woman. And I actually did not have a decline in my sex drive until much later. And it's not that much of a decline that I'm concerned.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
So I think, some of it is psychological. So we're here talking about mental and emotional. What makes one person feel like a woman is not what makes somebody else feel like a woman. And I am not looking for no period. My period can stay where it's at.
I would take
Yeah, well, I'm not looking for a period either, but I will say there is a level of emptiness I felt personally when I had my partial hysterectomy,
Mm.
because it was final. It
Mhm.
was there's no undoing that.
Mhm.
Like you get your tubes tied, you can get them untied or whatever. There's no undoing that. That is final. That is the end. There, you will birth no other children from your body. So
Yeah.
all I can say is thank God I had my son. That that
Mhm.
Right.
was that was purposeful. That he was meant to be here, because I couldn't imagine that would have been, my journey. But I also hear women who never had children and at a mature age wish and want to have children. But
Yeah. All the time.
Because you could change
yeah,
it.
and it's just like, child, I, I'm glad I had a child, but I'm good.
But it's funny how the things that we just take for granted, you know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
ovaries and things like that,
Right.
you know?
Yeah.
What about your bone health? Your muscles, your metabolism, all that is tied to
Mhm.
your period. And that's why I said in one instance I would be happy to have it back because the weight control was so much easier. You know,
Everything. It's
it
a complete disruptor. I said that on the last call of everything.
Hmm.
Everything.
But
And I
can
have
I
a
just
thyroid
tell you?
condition too. So when you add the thyroid condition to it,
Oh,
Mhm.
yeah.
forget about it.
And I think a lot of our perception is based off of shit that we've heard men say, that we've let
Mm-hmm.
creep through us. Who knows where it started, and it probably was like in the 1800s when a woman got to be a certain age and she couldn't have any babies no more. She's undesirable.
A
She can't have
spinster.
any more children.
A
She's no
spinster.
longer productive to the community because she can't bear children. And that has passed on from generation to generation. So I'm not saying that's 100% where it came from, but I'm pretty sure that's 100% where it came
Well,
from.
in the Bible, weren't they having babies at like 13 and
Yeah.
12?
Well,
But
Exactly.
How
so
old
you
was
got
Sarah when she had her baby? Sarah was a
Hmm.
hundred and son.
yeah, 100. But you have to
She
listen to
was
that
what?
podcast that
Wait,
I
what?
sent.
She
She
was a
was what?
hundred, and
Yeah,
her husband was older than her.
and
Who was her
yeah.
child?
They was on both sides of the spectrum.
Wait, who was their child?
Wait, Sarah.
Well,
Was it
but
Isaac?
but
Let me not get my.
but that was spiritual. That's some spiritual birth going on.
Heard that one. I hadn't heard that one. But it's still, I feel like the perception of what men think and how they project that on us has, just traveled with us through,
It's a
through.
stereotype. Yeah.
Yeah,
And we suck that stuff in too, right? When
yeah,
it's no different than anything else, right? If they're being told something on a regular basis, right? You start to believe that stuff.
yeah.
So when a man or someone is oh, she's on her period, here she goes. Don't get in her way. Don't
Right.
say nothing to her because she that I could see how people could internalize that and then project that outward.
Look,
Mhm.
I've said it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, she must be on her period. Her attitude. I'm
But
being
so,
nice. I ain't gonna say the other word. The bee is on her period. She need to sit down somewhere.
So
So
I was
we've
telling,
adopted the things that
but sometimes it is true. So I was telling
That's
Shahida,
exactly what I was gonna say. Go ahead,
I
girl.
was telling Shahida the other day, like I can tell when I'm having some kind of hormone flare up because all of a sudden, at my ripe age of 50, I got pimples on my face, or my underarms is smelling particularly ripe. I'm like, what? Why do I smell
so
like this?
let me tell you this.
Having your period could fix all that.
Yes,
No, it won't.
tell you something about the peri and menopause stage. That is the one thing that your hormones change. I remember somewhere around 40, I got all these, it was like a rash. I don't know where it was from. Okay. Then later on, I didn't have pimples when I was younger. Not at all. It might happen when I had, had my cycle. But
Right.
outside of that, I wasn't like a lot of these kids growing up and going, putting all this stuff on their face. Got to a certain age, and I was just like, oh wow. Not too long ago, within the last 10 years, my skin was doing some other stuff. So I'm in here trying to figure out, how I can, make that correction. And it's all about your our bodies are just really truly amazing. And
Mhm.
our bodies are transforming, to meet where we are going, basically, in terms of the number and the age. And it's you can I don't even know if you can really fight it. It's just a stage. But one of the things that I recognized with a friend of mine who was going, I, I knew that she was in menopause because she was a little ripe. And it's like, how can I never said anything because I couldn't figure out how to say something to her, but I knew that
Yeah.
she was just a little older than me and she was going through her body odor
It's
was a bit
spicy. It is
strong.
spicy. Okay.
Transforming.
I
Yes,
it,
yes,
so I'm the one who I could go like a long time without using deodorant. That used to be my
Yeah,
claim to fame. I didn't like tell a lot of people because people was
right.
like, "You don't use deodorant," but I could literally take
It
a
was my
shower,
internal flex.
go all day, and I'd
Right.
be like, "I ain't even got to wear deodorant today." And that was it. Like now, I definitely need to use it at least a couple of times a week.
Mm.
All of a sudden, this is new. This is a new thing. But
yep.
I did my fact check. Sarah or Sarai was the mother of Isaac. I was right. Okay, Vacation Bible
Check
School.
you out.
I know some things. But yeah, her and her husband they had their child late in life, so that was a thing. But anyway, I want to also mention that I think this thing about what makes you a woman, it depends on your upbringing because I'm
Mm,
my mother's only child, right? But my mother has two sisters, a younger and an older sister. Her older sister had a biological child. Her younger sister, my youngest aunt, Marcia, never had any children. But let me tell you, there's no one can tell this woman that she is not a woman. She is the woman. She's the ultimate woman. At her age of 78, she's still that girl. So
Hmm.
she never wanted kids. So she didn't have any. According to her, she didn't want any kids. But that never made me feel like she was less of a woman. I actually think she lived and continues to live a really exciting and amazing life because it was never like that made you having children didn't make you the ideal woman in my family. It was cool. It was nice. You had a baby, whatever. But that wasn't what in my family was like. What kind of education did you get? What kind of job are you doing? What kind of title did you get at work? You know, that's what womanhood meant in my family. What kind of home did you make? What kind of children did you raise, and how when you do have them, how they represent you, but also how do you reflect back on the family overall. So my aunt who never, and she actually said she didn't have hot flashes. I'm like, I don't know if it's because she didn't have kids or
Yeah.
what, maybe that, affected her biology in that sense. She said she didn't have any hot flashes.
Hmm.
I think everybody, I know I have a few aunts in my family too. One who just passed away a couple of years ago, and she was 106.
Oh wow.
didn't have any
Oh,
children, didn't have any
That's
children.
why she lived at
Uh,
106.
yeah, and she did have a husband though, but and I get it. Sometimes it is like your perception. What?
Them
Oh,
damn
sometimes it
kids,
is.
baby. It's them kids that be
Oh,
taking years off our
it
lives.
too. It too. Tell me about it. All my grades showing. So her, I feel like as she got older, of course, she was seen as like, oh, you're such a pioneer. She's so, such a strong woman. And children definitely didn't define her. But who knows what it was like when she was in her 20s and 30s.
Yeah.
When you're actively out there and you're dating or you're not dating, and the perception of men. I mean, my family's from Missouri and Illinois,
Mhm.
so she ended up moving out to California, probably a lot to get away from some of that stuff. But I think a lot of women, they sometimes make a conscious decision, but sometimes it just happens. They don't have any more children.
Yeah.
But how we in the family or in the community perceive them, I think there's always that small notion, well, she's done all this thing, all this, she's accomplished everything. You see how they did Kamala
don't have
Harris,
no kid.
all her
Yeah,
accomplishments, and then people try to tear her down with one thing, but she's not a mother. What the hell does that got to do with
right.
anything? And
And
I
do
think
do
it
you
Yeah.
think she
pops up
cares?
more. Hmm?
Do you think she cares? Because I don't think Kamala give a damn, and
No,
I know
she
my
doesn't.
auntie
But
doesn't.
again, it's how society really, and then sometimes our own family. We don't know if anyone in her family, her dad or her sister or somebody was like, "Oh, you're doing so great, but when are you gonna have some kids?" And
But look, I
I
mean,
think
but
we're at that
society
point.
does.
Exactly, we're at that
Yeah,
point now where we're learning to shut the f up. That's none of our business, and that's good. But I
right.
feel like a lot of our older,
Are we? Are we there?
But I mean, that's what society does. And
Just in general, I'm
if you
saying.
go back, if you go back a bit, society has always looked at that woman that doesn't have a husband. Look at that woman when she doesn't have any kids. Now she is living her best life, but
Mhm,
we all up
with
in her
this
business,
accomplishment.
all up in her business, trying to say, oh, she's not this because she doesn't have a husband, or she's not this because she has no kids, and she's happy as a pig in shit.
Hmm.
And I think society's counter to that, because you're seeing so many women saying no to children, no to marriage, are these trad wives. That has become extremely popular and have blown up. And I think that's a direct reaction to you, especially for men to be able to say no, even though men will say that they want this trad wife, but they will chase down the woman who is independent like nothing because they want to break her down more. So the trad wife is
Mhm.
already broken down. The excitement and the treasure is right with the woman who isn't. But I feel exactly what you're saying. But there's a lot. But I think that in their younger days they had a lot of shit to deal with.
So I want to
Mhm.
add to this. So like I said, my aunt is 78. So she's of the, what do you call that
Previous
generation?
generation.
She's a baby boomer.
Mm-hmm.
I never once heard her parents, my grandparents, ever pressure her to
Mm-hmm.
have kids. I never heard them pressure her to do anything, honestly, except for what she was, be successful. That was all my
Mm-hmm.
grandparents ever like instilled. And now that I think about it, like I'm actually like breaking this down in my family dynamic, my grandfather's sister. So this is my maternal grandfather's sisters. He had three sisters. None of them had kids, and nobody talked shit about it. Nobody. And only one of them got married, and she got married when she was like in her 60s to a much younger man. And my aunt that I'm talking about married a man that was 12 years younger than her.
Go for her.
And they're all like the longevity is there. I'm like, there's a formula here. Tracy
Right.
Ellis Ross gonna live to be 107. That's all I'm gonna say.
Mm.
Okay.
Mm.
She's 107 now.
I said Tracy Ellis Ross is gonna live to be 107
Oh.
because she's
Yeah,
single,
they
no
mad at her.
kids, and she likes younger men.
Mm.
They mad at her because she want a younger man.
This
And
woman didn't
Tracy
even
don't
say
care.
how young. She didn't say how young. She just said younger than her. She wasn't talking
Younger.
22. Anyway. They just want something to be angry
But
about.
if,
I mean,
if,
that's
Right.
good. I
if
don't feel
they
like
can do it, we can do it.
there's
Yeah,
quite
if it wasn't menopause, it would be something else. It's just how it is.
But
yeah.
it's really
I did want to. I want to. I don't know if you guys remember this at all. You may not have. There was a book that was out that came out in the 70s. Our bodies are
ourselves.
ourselves. I think that was our bodies ourselves. It was a book in the 70s. It was a book that was all about the woman's body. We had the book in my house, so
Mhm.
I had. I would look in that book. I was young, but I would look in that book.
Mm-hmm.
And when you talk about going back to like where science is in terms of our bodies, our health, our reproductive systems, the research that they do, they didn't really do on us. They All research is done on men. All the
Mhm.
pills and stuff, vitamins, whatever you got out there, it's done on men. It's only more recent has more research come up for women in terms of menopause, our reproductive um, bodies. I mean, you got the men right now wanting to shut down all of those things. Our care, each one of us, our bodies are different. We're going to respond. We may have some similarities in some ways, but our bodies are still our own. And so they're not going to be identical to, my body's not like yours, Shahida, or Tracy or Robbie. And it's really important for us as we are getting older, and it seems we are having more of these conversations that we weren't having when we were younger about how to take care of ourselves,
Mhm.
because honestly nobody is going to. And I go to the doctor, went to the doctor today. It's like I ask questions and I try to, look up stuff so that when I go to the doctor, I'm prepared, I'm ready. Menopause wasn't a talk, definitely wasn't a talk when I was a kid. There were a number of things. There was something that happened to me, and I was so annoyed by it because I can't remember exactly what it was, but I was so annoyed because I'm like, why didn't anybody tell me this? Like it was like, why are we hiding this information, from our families, from our sisters, from our friends, about our bodies? And so we have to, I think we have to stay invested in our health.
Mhm.
So,
No, I agree. Have all the tough conversations.
And they don't have to be
yeah,
tough if we make it
yeah, I
common,
was
if
gonna
we make
say,
it more
yeah.
common, if we make it more conversational. I was just saying last week, I'm going to start talking more to my sons about my menopause journey. I'm even, my husband sees my menopause journey, but he may not know as many aspects of it because I'm not always, obvious about all of the things that are going on. So I'm being more candid with him as well, because the perimenopause phase, I don't know if any of you all had this experience, but the periods were erratic, and I was used to very consistent. I mean, I could set my watch to my period, and all of a sudden I was
Mhm.
having periods at weird times, and not only were they at weird times, but it was like an overabundance sometimes of blood. I'm like, what is this
A lot of
extra?
clotting, like crazy clots.
Right, like what? And then I would get migraines, which I had never gotten in my life. That was also what I didn't realize at the time, a symptom of my perimenopause. And I was just like, what is
Oh wow.
happening? And so then I also ended up getting diagnosed with high blood pressure at the same time. So I got medicated, I got treated for that, and that helped with the migraines. But there were a lot of things going on, but it would be like sometimes I'd be at work and I'm like, I need to like change my clothes because this is a problem that
Mhm.
one pad cannot solve at a time. And
And this is
like
the
they don't
problem.
make
I don't think men really understand, Tracy, what women go through. Like we're showing up to work and we've got these female things going on, and it's like, oh, I gotta go home.
yeah,
Like I can't explain it to my male boss, but I need to leave.
Right.
I need to go home.
yeah,
Right. True.
yeah.
I was really bold. I'd be like, I got my period, and then it's a hot mess. I gotta go. And
See,
that's when
I
I
would
worked with
do
four
that.
guys in the office,
I
and
would
when
do
I
that
was
when
at
I wanted
Goldman,
to leave. When I wanted to leave because I know they didn't want to talk about it.
I'd be like, this is not good. It's not good.
Yeah, we don't even hear it, Tracy. We don't even want to hear gone.
Nope,
Just go.
you don't got to go into details. Just go on about your business. Do what you got to do, girl.
Go.
Do what you got to do.
Right.
You
Uh-huh.
won't even get it out. You won't even be able to get
No,
it out.
you be like, no, go home.
Have a good night.
Yep.
That's how I used to
See you
get
tomorrow, maybe.
out of gym class. I hated PE when I was in high school. I loved it when I was a kid, but PE in high school, no, no. I would have my period every week.
I wonder if they're still strict like that with girls in school now. Because I
But
know, like,
China
my thing
is
is if my daughter said she was sick, she had a period, okay, no questions asked, you can have the day. Everybody
oh,
deserves
no,
that.
they used to. When I was in gym class, they used to tell us, "Oh no, you got to keep moving. That helps. That
Oh,
helps. That
mhm,
helps." You be like, "Oh God," I'm like dying over here, and I don't want nothing, nothing to happen while I'm out there
Right.
playing kickball or squash.
I was spending many a days in the nurse's office, laid out on them beds they had with those fake ice packs they used to make. This is when I lived in LA. They used to take, remember those brown paper towels that they would use in the bathroom? You know those brown ones.
Yeah,
They would get like few of them, like three of them, wet them with water, fold them, and put them in a baggie and throw them in the freezer. Those were their
are
ice
you
packs.
serious?
No, and I would be laid out in the nurse's like just to get out of class or get
yeah,
out of
I
something.
wasn't having any
I
symptoms.
got
I just didn't want to
cramps.
go.
I didn't even know what a cramp was. I got cramps. So it's funny because we're sitting here and we're talking about people and judgment and not understanding and this and thing. I was working it. Okay,
You
I
got to
was
work that
totally working
system.
it, and but my mom, when I got a little older though, I had terrible cramps. So I used to take that naproxen. I know y'all remember the
Hmm.
naproxen back in the day. And every month when the cycle came, the first 2 days of the cycle, home, no
Mhm,
school. And my
mhm.
mom knew, but it was that bad. And
Yeah.
it wasn't until I had my son, when I had children, when I had my son, that's when the period, it didn't shorten. Like it was always 6 days, 6 full days. But the intensity of the cramps
Oh, wow.
yeah,
totally went
yeah, Robbie.
away.
Robbie, that was payback for when you was fake, probably faking it,
Fake cramping
fake cramping in the nurse's office.
with them bootleg ice packs.
That's wild. I didn't have the thing that killed me with my period, unlike I that stopped once I started going through perimenopause, was the migraine. I would get a migraine
Never
before
got
my
those.
period and after, and they are no joke either. You ever remember the commercial where it'd be like, this is a cold, and it'd be like a water drip or something like that, and then this is the flu, and then it'd be like a raging hurricane or something. That's exactly how a
Hmm.
migraine was for me. They were horrific. So I was grateful
Mm.
when perimenopause said, you know what? You don't have to worry about that. One time I was coming home, I had a migraine at work. I got to work and I had drove into Boston that day. And at 11 o'clock, I said, I just can't take it anymore. My head is, I didn't get the medicine in at that time, because if you don't get it in at the perfect time, that migraine gets worse. It took me
Wow.
from 11 o'clock in the morning to drive from Back Bay to 4 o'clock in the afternoon to get home, because I had to
Mm.
keep stopping, throwing up, sleeping in the parking
Oh
lot,
wow.
Oh
and
my
then
goodness.
that's how bad migraines are.
Wow.
Oh. And they made you vomit?
They will make me vomit. Yep.
Jeez.
Yep. So I
See, I
mean,
never really had too many migraines.
uh, and once I start, my doctor prescribed this sumatriptan or sumatriptan, whatever that was. If I would take that, as soon as I would feel that twinge of a migraine, if I would take it and lay down for 30 minutes, I was good. Good.
See, you ain't even going to work because you get that twinge in the morning. I'm not gonna be there until noon.
Just But we had a quiet room at the job I'm at now, and I would go down there and I would sleep for 40 minutes and I would be fine.
Child, for the lack of sleep I'm getting right now, I'll be there every day.
Terrible.
Ah, they ain't
I
got
got
to.
up at 11 today.
They ain't got to know that
11.
I don't have no
Love
period no
that for
more.
you, Robbie.
I mean, they
I want to
club.
be you when I grow up.
Listen, because I'm up during the hours
Oh
I'm
yeah,
supposed to be asleep.
uh huh.
That's why.
That was me last night. I'm so tired right now.
Yeah.
I,
Yeah.
Yep.
I if I go to bed late and then I wake up, I'm still gonna wake up early. I'm just gonna be napping throughout the day. I don't think I could. If I lay in bed too long, I get a headache.
Well, I
Like
need a
Mm.
couple days for that.
I,
There are times I feel that, Shahida. If I'm in the bed too long, I will have a headache. But
Mhm.
not when I'm tired. It's all get out like I
No, if
am.
I'm tired, that's a
Like,
whole different story. But if I'm just like laying there and just
Like
don't
when you're
get up,
sick.
mm-hmm.
yeah,
Yeah,
When
yeah,
you're in the bed
exactly.
because you're sick. Yeah,
yeah,
that I'll get headaches then.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Because you're not in bed because you're tired. You're just
right.
in bed because you don't feel well. When you get
Right.
up, you're nauseous, so you stay in the bed. And
Yeah.
after, yeah, that's terrible.
Yeah.
Oh, and the worst thing about a migraine, you can't watch TV, you can't read a book, you can't do anything but lay there with your eyes closed, praying to God.
See, I
Whatever
don't
I
think I
did
ever had a
yesterday, oh, it's the worst. I
I've
just
actual
had a migraine.
migraine. I
hmm?
don't think I have actually had an actual migraine. I've had because even headaches I don't get often. Tracy, you know that. I don't even take anything until somebody says
Oh
after I'm
yeah,
complaining my head hurts. Did you take something? Oh, no.
that's
Then I'll take
that
something.
sound like my husband. I'll be
Yeah.
like, did you take some? Oh no.
But I'd be like, oh God, oh geez, my head, did you take something? Oh yeah, no, no. But I think why I can do that is I don't think they are what like Shahida is describing. Like to
A
me, it's like, oh,
migraine is
my head
bad.
hurts, but it's probably nothing for Shahida. She
Oh
probably
no.
experienced that and be like,
I've
girl, this ain't nothing.
yeah,
It's a
I've had
cakewalk.
migraines
Get
before.
up and get out the bed and go to school.
Right. Okay. You here, take that and go to school. Hush up.
Migraine, you feel like you're dying.
But I'm
You
telling
feel
you,
like you are
I
dying.
had those I had true migraine level headaches in during perimenopause, and that's the only time
Mm,
in my life I think I had one when I was really young once, and I don't
mm-hmm.
know what caused it, but throughout my like adulthood, I would have headaches, like you said, or like,
Mm,
little pain,
right,
discomfort. Sometimes it'd even be throbbing, but the
right.
migraine joints, perimenopause brought those on. And they were
Mm,
accompanied by like these just tsunamis of blood.
mm.
Wild. It was
Yeah.
wild.
Yeah, there was a few times I thought something was wrong. I was like, I'm Googling. Now I'm Googling.
Right.
What is too much?
Google. Google.
Right. And that's why I'm like
You feel it like would feel like birth.
a lot
Yeah.
of women don't like pads. I love a pad. Okay.
I
I
I
do
did
too.
too.
back in my
I
day.
do too.
And my favorite ones that they have out now are it's a black owned company and they have these mint ones. Oh,
Mint,
they're amazing. Yes.
mint,
Yeah.
mint.
Yeah.
You know,
They're menthol.
They're menthol. You know, black people love menthol. They're menthol.
down there though, that's like my Ben
It's
Gay
a
story.
cooling effect.
It just sounds cooling and refreshing.
No, it doesn't.
Go
I
down
gotta
there
find
for a
the
little
name
bit
of
of
them. They
mint
definitely have them
freshness
in
down
Walmart. And they're mint.
Wow.
Hmm.
But they have other ones. They have other ones too.
Hmm.
But yeah, those are nice ones. But yeah, it was rough. So I did, but I will say one of the things that I do love is not having to use birth control. That is amazing. And it's
It's wonderful.
yes, it's the honey
Never
pot.
used them. Took
Honey
my
pot.
chances.
Robbie's like, I just rolled a dice. That's hilarious.
Never used
That's
them.
why I got 3 kids.
I tried. I tried. But it was, I think it would make me keep my period. Like when I would be on them, I would just stay on
I'm
my
just saying,
period.
like any contraceptive, like once
Yeah.
you hit true like menopause, or you like I said, I went to and they counted my
Right.
eggs and it was like they gone. I was like,
He said they
hey,
counted them.
no,
There was
seriously,
like what up, up. Empty.
They
She
were
didn't
like,
even have a half, not even a half dozen.
no, no, could
Not even a
nothing. There
six
was
count. Not
no,
even a six count.
no, there
Nothing.
was nothing left to scramble, baby. They gone. And that's fine by me. But I think that's something that women, all women, anyone who is interested in reproduction, though the potential for it needs to establish. I'm not saying go make an appointment to store your eggs, but you can actually request an egg count because you're
Mm,
born with the number of eggs that you're going to have in your
Yeah.
lifetime. You're born with them. Some people, and I'm paraphrasing because I'm not a doctor, you might be born with seven and somebody else is born with 1,000. Once yours are gone, they are
that's it.
gone. That's all you have. And
Mm-hmm.
so when I was in my mid 30s, mine were depleted. And thankfully, I had three kids and I wanted children. I had three kids. And my cutoff for having kids was the age of 30 for me. I was like,
Hmm.
I at that time I was like, I can't even imagine having kids after 30. I'm like, that's too old in my book at that time. So my cutoff was 30. So when I got diagnosed at 36 as being in perimenopause, emerging into menopause, it was not devastating for me
Right, right.
because I had already had that
But you know,
experience.
it's funny. Women back in the day used to die after having children, and that's how it's been seen for a lot of women. I mean, a long
Well, a
time
lot of
ago.
white black women die now in childbirth, which is crazy.
Yes, yes, with all the technology and all the
Hmm.
in reproductive health. Um,
Right.
and the mistake shouldn't be made. This is not just about having children. Our bodies are just amazing organisms, and they need to be cared for in a particular way. And as I said before, no one's situation is the same. And you might have one thing that's going on with you. I might have another thing that's going on with me. And our reproductive system is actually, I think, what makes us who we are, whether we have children or not. It's impactful to our body as we grow and age and stuff. So,
Hmm.
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
you need to check out that video that I sent you because it was really, really, really good.
I'm going to post
It's
that
probably one
video.
of the
I'll post it to our socials. And I also want to share that I'm going to post a list of resources for women, particularly Black women, as far as navigating menopause, like some sites that people can go on. I mentioned the Maven app in the past. They're not a sponsor or anything like
Hmm.
that, but Maven is an app that my job actually gave us for free. They gave us the
Hmm.
subscription and they said this
Yep.
it's a fertility app and program, but they also help women with their menopause concerns and questions too. And I just think that, there's a lot out there. Robbie, you troubleshot with the product. It didn't work for you, but you're going to try it again. You're going to maybe
I'm almost a month in. No,
try it
I'm like two
longer.
weeks, 2 weeks in.
Yeah, I was like, girl, you just got it a couple of weeks
No,
ago.
But I
no,
want to show you
two,
guys.
because it was a month supply. It's a month supply. I'm almost 2 weeks in,
Hmm.
but that's expected. Obviously, I've seen no results. Like it's
So
not helped me at all.
I was in the dollar store the other day. You probably can't see this very well, not at all.
oh, you
Okay.
can't see that. I
Yep,
see
yep,
it.
I see
Okay.
it.
So
I
it's
can't. What is it?
menstrual heat patch. That's one. But then there's another one
In the dollar store?
at the dollar store. There's like these other menopause patches that you can buy and just like put on your body too. So
Mm.
those are at the dollar store. But I also want
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry, Tracy.
no, I also want to plug some of our giveaways. So the first giveaway that we are doing this month or this week is the Let's
Go
Spin
ahead.
intimacy gel that Halle Berry posted in her video
Oh,
when she was
oh
with her
yeah.
boo.
Yeah. You have my address. You have my address.
So if you would like a chance to win, the instructions are on our socials. It's a matter of following us and
Yeah.
subscribing on YouTube. Posting a comment, Miss Lisa. You've
Follow,
already
I subscribe, I comment.
you're already in.
Sure.
You're in. So if y'all want to let Teresa get your intimacy gel, do you. But I want to say that this is $45 retail. So there got to be some good slipping and sliding
Okay,
happening.
Hallie,
Like,
come on.
Right.
How much is it? I mean, how many ounces is it?
It's so
A
luckily
little goes a long way.
it's two fluid ounces,
Yeah,
which means
you baby oil.
you can put it in your carry-on. Ain't no baby oil going up in here. That was just stupid to me. I'm like, your cheap ass couldn't afford real lube.
Okay.
Didn't.
The chafing, the chafing, the chafing.
I
So,
think he
question.
decided things
Well, that's why
changed.
they
Anybody,
were oiling up every 5 minutes. That's why
every
they had 1,000 bottles.
has
I like
anybody
to
ever thought
motel.
about hormone replacement therapy?
So I think I have mentioned that in the pelvic floor thing that sometimes it's available through your insurance carrier. I haven't I had a patch. And that patch did not work for me because weirdly the patch had me bleeding for a month. I don't know what blood that was.
Mm,
It might have been like a buildup of my uterine lining. My doctor just he explained it to me, but I was like, "Here's what we gonna do. We taking
right.
this patch off because I'm not about to be
Was that
bleeding
a side effect? Was it normal? Did they say
for
that's
me.
what happens?
It's not supposed to.
Oh, it wasn't. Oh, okay.
It wasn't
Okay.
a
Yeah, see,
warning.
everybody's body is different.
Yeah, I didn't know if it was something they're like, yeah, that's one of the things that could happen. No.
I was just curious because I mean I've aged out of kind of hormone replacement therapy.
Uh-huh.
At this point, I remember when I did have my partial hysterectomy, there was a conversation in and around something like that, but I really wasn't in tune to it in terms of the information and so forth. So I was really reluctant because it's there's a connection to breast cancer,
Mm,
which
Oh, I didn't
I
know
don't.
that.
I think even if you don't have hormone replacement therapy, like there's still a chance that you
it's
could get
still at risk.
cancer.
Yeah, yeah.
And even if you don't have a history of it in your family. So my aunt had breast cancer. My mom had breast cancer, and my mother-in-law also had breast
Oh,
cancer.
wow.
So
Well, I know
yeah, and
Michelle
they all
Obama
survived.
uses replacement hormone therapy, and she loved it. That's the first time.
Really?
Yeah, yeah, that was she did an interview
Yeah,
about it not too long ago.
yeah,
And she talked
that
about it.
was a good interview as well. There's a
Mhm,
lot of conversation I feel like that's going on about menopause, perimenopause, which in terms of women of color, which is really important. You know, and I
But
think
the
if you have young daughters, this is a conversation you should be having with them at a young age, and really, really, talking to them about their bodies.
But the important thing is if something is clearly not working for you,
mhm.
don't be trying to push
Right.
a
Yeah,
round peg into a square hole.
good point.
I go to my GYN and like I said, I'll be running up on that app. I'll be texting them in there, sending a message like this ain't working. Try something else.
Mm-hmm.
Because this
Mhm,
is not it for me. Because the thing, hormone replacement is supposed to aid with things like bone density, to avoid bone loss. It's supposed to
Yeah.
help with heart health and other types of cancers and things like that. That was what they were pitching to me. And two different GYNs talked to me about that. But I also was like, I I'll take my chances. Like I'll take my chances right now because I just don't feel like the patch was working for me, and I don't want to be on birth control. Like I'm like I didn't come too far
right.
to start taking
Mhm,
daily
To
right.
birth
do that
control.
again.
Hell no, not
Yeah.
doing that. Not to mention birth control is known for potentially causing blood clots, and there are other things that could go wrong with the birth control. I'm like, so I'm switching out one malady for
Right.
another. No, I'll take my chances. Me
Which is
personally.
unfortunate because that's typically how medications
It's like,
go.
yeah,
You know
it's
what I mean?
like
It's a
it,
trade-off. It's a trade-off.
it'll make you feel this way, and it'll do that and do that, but then you'll grow three legs or some crazy mess. Like,
Or you could die.
yeah,
They
yeah,
put that. They putting that on there
yeah,
now. Or you
yeah,
could die.
yeah.
But this
Like,
also goes back to what you said at the very top of the episode, Tracy, about the things you can do before all of that happens, making
right,
doing things to increase your bone density, exercising, the way you eat, so that when you do start packing on those, those menstrual, I mean, not menstrual, please, I wish, when you start packing on those menopause pounds, it won't be as severe as it is when you're going through it and you had no preparation. We have many, many years to prepare for this, and we just don't.
They didn't
They
tell me.
tell us so.
They didn't.
But it's
But
just
I
like
got a
when
new TikTok. I
Either,
got a new
Robbie.
TikTok machine delivered today. I got a new TikTok machine delivered today. So
okay.
Okay.
But here, think about this. Think about this. Think about when you had your first child. We all have children here.
Mhm.
Mhm.
The amount of stuff that nobody said to you about pregnancy and your body and after you have the baby and before you have
Right.
the baby and
Albert.
while you're pregnant, how much stuff was left unsaid? Like, we need to just be having more open and honest dialogue from the jump.
Sure. Yeah.
From the time you hit adolescence, we should be just talking more freely and more openly. I was telling Shahida, I was
Also, I
talking.
think it's a,
No, I
go
was
ahead.
saying
I'm sorry, Tracy.
I was talking to a young woman who's in her 20s. She just had her first baby. And she's like, I feel like the word menopause is everywhere. I said, good. Learn about it because it's going to happen to you. If you're lucky enough to live long enough to get to it, it will happen to you. And
It's
you need
not
to know
there
about it.
now. Hmm.
You need to know about it.
Mhm.
So I'm glad.
I think we need to educate men as well
Oh, of
because
course.
the I don't think men understand like what is actually going on with us when we're a little moody and we really I don't want to be bothered with you. Don't touch me. Get away from me. I just want to be over here by myself. Chill, like where they trying to pounce on you every second. Like, just look, not today, not right now. I'm not in the mood. No, I'm tired. I've been up till 3 o'clock in the morning, and up at 6 to go to work.
Mhm.
So I think it's important that we educate men too, so they have a level of understanding. And you don't want it to be some tragic situation that makes
Mhm.
the light bulb go on,
Mhm.
for them, like the birth of a child and something goes wrong, in the birthing room. You
Yeah.
have to be able to have these conversations and have them kind of understand, like what what is happening to us as we're transforming, as we're getting older. They also have their own little thing
Yeah,
too.
Right.
they have menopause and they just don't know it and understand it.
Yes, they don't know it. They
Mhm.
don't know it. I see it. They don't know it.
They have
They do
periods.
I
not.
don't think it's like ours though.
It's not. And
To the to
there's
the
no
degree
classes.
of what we're going through.
Well, that's because we give birth. We give birth. We create the
Right.
world. So
But not only that, we house a whole person for 9 months. The amount of
a
preparation it
whole
takes for your
person.
body to
Rent
achieve that
free.
Yeah.
feat, no charge, as Shirley Caesar would say. Okay, no charge. Like, that's incredible that you're eating for two, you're breathing for two, everything you're doing is for
Yeah.
two or more if you have multiples. That's a lot, and the recovery from that
Yeah.
is a lot. There's just so much to being a woman, and it's funny
It's,
because my director is in her 50s. Now I'm in my 50s, and there are times when I want to say to her, like, girl, I know it's the menopause. I know
Mm.
it's the menopause that's, it's like you're saying it's
mhm.
XYZ, but it's also, you probably had a hot flash in that last meeting and it was those people and you couldn't express it and you couldn't pull your jacket off and you couldn't. So when I see her hair pulled back a certain way, I'm like, ooh, sis had a flash real quick.
It's that
But
day. It's that
yeah,
day.
I think I'm gonna start talking to her about it though, and I'm gonna, in a way, like, I think we kind of have that rapport now where I can
Mhm.
probably have a conversation with her about things like that. But
Oh, my boss talk about it all the time.
yeah, it
Mm.
just should be.
I have
I tell
one of
everybody.
my colleagues I talk to about all the time about,
All the time.
we're currently been talking about menopause, and because she's younger than me, so she's going through things now, so we've had a lot of conversations in and around, menopause. I sent her the video,
There are
so
so many comedians that are talking about it, and it's funny. There are a lot of things about menopause when you just sit back and you be like, God damn it, it is funny. But then there are the
oh, it's
very
funny
serious
until
things.
you go with
There are things that are
it's like a
very
hot.
serious. Like I was saying, the people who are going through it and they are in that very dark place. And we didn't really get to touch on that. And I do want to maybe bring that up because the stories that I have been hearing, and hopefully I can get somebody on to it's really heartbreaking that, I mean, because I said, like, when I would PMS, I went through a period like that where it was just extremely dark. And when people would say they were depressed, I would be like, yeah, so what? That's like, a couple of days you'll be okay or
You
whatever.
said that, Shahida?
Yeah, yeah.
Cold blooded.
No,
You
nobody was gonna talk about that.
Nita's like, you'll be all right. You'll be all right.
was. I was until
You don't strike me as that
She
person.
says stuff like that all the time, though.
Shahida, don't you? When was this? Was this a while ago?
yeah,
Like
yeah,
now?
it was before I had
Because if you haven't been
out
through
with
it,
It was
if you
last
haven't
depression.
been through it, you
And then
don't
I
get
was
it.
like, oh
Yeah.
shit, this is what you felt like? I apologize. And I did. Robbie called me out. Goodbye, Robbie.
Because there are some people that really are like have clinical depression, and if you
And
don't
I
know what
did
that
not
is,
believe that was a thing when I was like in my
Right.
30s. I just thought it was like everybody gets depressed. Everybody gets depressed, but your house is not clean, you're not taking care of your body. That I didn't connect that, oh, this is really a
Oh
medical
yeah.
issue
Well, I definitely
until
have not been depressed because I be cleaning up in here. Everything be clean.
no, yeah, a person would come home and then just for me, and again, this only lasted for a week.
Yeah.
Only lasted for a week, and I would just come home and get in the bed, and then I would go to bed not wanting the next day to come because I had to get up and do that whole fake shit all over again, and
Groundhog Day.
it was
yeah,
it was like having to be on and then having to be, a coworker, a mother, and I was just like, I just want to stay in this bed until I don't feel this. And
Oh
luckily,
wow.
I came out of that after I got my period, and I never had a bout of depression like that before. And when my period came, I was like, oh, damn. And again, like I said, I really had to apologize, not to anyone particular. I would never come out loud and be like, just get
Just everybody.
yeah, it was just the way I thought that it
Right.
wasn't a real thing that
but
you could
that's how I
count
felt
out of it.
postpartum. That's how I felt postpartum after I had my last kid. It
Hmm.
was just like, what is the point of all this? That was the feeling. Like you said, Robbie, Groundhog Day. You wake up, you do the same thing every single day, and there's very little variety, and you have
Yeah.
to make that variety. You have to, if you have the wherewithal to do it yourself. Obviously, now we know better. You can go get like professional help now, and companies are paying for that, and benefits are covering that stuff. But back in 2001,
You
that
went
was
to your mama.
I didn't even go to my
I had
mama.
it
I
twice
didn't. I just
with
was
both of mine.
I ate my freaking feelings is what
Did
I
you?
did. Yeah,
Oh. I was scared
basically.
to go home. When I had both my kids, I had it, and it was terrible. And I went home the first time. I went home, but I had it. But then Rhonda, my sister, was pregnant too. She had had her daughter like either 1 week, 2 weeks before I had my son. So she came to the house and she stayed with me. So I wasn't alone because when I got home, my sister came to my house and she stayed with me. My little sister Raina, she came, she was there too. So I had people around me. And my
Yeah,
sister had her baby and
Right.
I had my son. And we literally would be like standing next to each other, and everything she did, because she was on her second child. So everything she did, I was doing it, like mimicking everything. She's literally telling me, "Now do this, now do this," and I did that. And then my sister was there for a week because February baby it ran into February vacation. So when Rhonda left, my sister stayed with me. So I wasn't alone again because me and my son's father, we didn't live together. When my sister left, Melissa, when she left me alone, that's when it hit me.
Yep.
It was terrible. And one night I was just my son was crying. This I'm doing everything trying to. I changed him. I fed him. The rocking him. This that he was screaming. I went over to him at one point and I squeezed his cheek so hard until he screamed. And it was like for me. It was just like that's when I realized just how bad it
yeah,
really was
yeah.
because I couldn't control myself. Like I was just like he wouldn't stop and I went and I was just like just stop like and he was
And
just
that's
like,
hormonal. That's a chemical
Hmm.
change that happens
yes,
to you when you had your kid. You know what I mean?
right.
And it's like people now it's like oh, baby blues. That was like a newer term,
Oh, hell no.
but it's much
What do they
more
call it? What
intense.
was the term?
Baby
Baby
blues, I've
blues.
heard
Oh,
that.
baby blues. Yeah.
So for
No,
me,
no.
I always worked. Like even though I was a teen parent, especially when I had my first kid, I always worked. So my whole thing was I'm gonna take more hours because my baby's at home with my mother and my grandmother, and she's straight, and I'm just gonna take more hours.
Right,
And the less I'm there, the less I got to deal with the fact that
right.
I don't feel great. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Like I love my baby, but
Right.
don't I wanted to do
Right.
my stuff over here to myself. And so I wasn't going to the club. I wasn't hanging out in the streets. I was
Yeah.
at work, and that was an acceptable excuse for me. But when I
Hmm.
had my last kid, like I really, really felt it. And I don't even remember really how I got out of it. I think I just got out of it one day. But it's important to talk to, to other people and to talk to like medical professionals about this kind of stuff
Hmm.
because it's all part of it. It's like menopause is like a stop on the way of all of this stuff. It's
All these other
period,
things. Yeah. It's
getting pregnant,
all
having
tied
kids,
together.
postpartum.
Yeah.
It's all a trail that leads back to
Yeah.
each other. So all of it's
Wow, when
part
you
of the
really think
journey.
about it, we be going through some shit.
Yeah.
Right,
Well,
right.
I
It's like,
learned from it though. When I had my
it's
second son,
so
I didn't go when I went from the hospital to my mother's house.
yeah.
And I had to stay there because I already knew I can't be alone. I
Yeah,
It was like
cannot go home. The
birth
idea of going home
to the
and it just
experience of
being me.
menopause.
And I lived with my son's father at that time, but I still knew he's going to be going to work.
Yep.
My son's going to be at school.
yeah,
I'm going to be home alone with this baby. No,
It-
we're not doing that. So I went to
yeah,
my mom's and I was there for over a month before I felt comfortable that I could go home with my son. So
yeah.
that whole baby blues shit, that's bullshit.
yeah,
No, that is real. And when people talk about it and postpartum and whatever, that's
I
serious.
didn't have any of that when I had Jamaica.
Serious business.
I had I remember my sister wanting to, she's like, oh, I'm gonna come and stay with you, for the first week that you had baby. And I was like, no, I'm good. And I was fine. I didn't, but that's my
It's
personality.
not right
I'm
away.
Yeah,
a,
that's totally your
yeah,
personality.
I
Hmm.
just do it. Like,
Mhm.
Hmm.
I hadn't done it before, but this is my baby, and I'll figure this out, and we'll be good, and we were good. And
Hmm.
I actually enjoyed that time. I didn't have postpartum, I didn't
Yeah.
have any kind of depression or anything like that. I didn't experience that kind of thing. I probably felt more stuff with menopause than I did with, having my son. So, but as we were talking before you mentioned it, Tracy, I was like, wow, perimenopause sounds very much like, postpartum sounds very much like perimenopause, menopause. So it's all in the same family.
Hmm.
yeah. It is.
It's hormones.
It's horrible.
Right.
It's
But I'm gonna tell
hormones.
you
Form
one thing, like one takeaway I would say is now I understand why my grandmother and all her friends wore those cotton dusters. Okay, and I think I'm gonna start investing in some because I
Men
think
off of you.
to know to keep the damn heat off your body. All this
Oh,
polyester, everything on Fashion Nova, polyester. But those little cotton dusters with the snaps, now I know why they had snaps on it.
Right.
So you
Right.
can
because they
snap
didn't
your,
have a darn thing on underneath them bad boys.
Nothing.
Just be hanging stuff, just be out.
they need to
Be cool over here.
bring back moo-moos,
The
okay?
moo
They
no, you had that one.
legs wide open.
That's funny.
I
Be
wouldn't dare.
fan.
I wouldn't
Don't make
dare.
me
But
put
Tracy,
on a
you could pull
bra.
it off.
Listen, I'll make
You
that
could pull
shit
it off, sis.
fashionable. Stop
You
playing.
would make it look good.
Throw a big belt on. Yeah.
Put some cute sandals in a matching bag, and it'll be moo-moos for everybody.
Go ahead, sis. Go off. Well, that is the end of this episode. We appreciate so much you ladies being with us. It was, again, it was fun. It was insightful. Um, I don't know what else to say.
Glad to be here in the same room with the Little state, big voices,
I'm
ladies.
I'm
Absolutely.
rethinking how I came off when I was talking about depression. Like, I was like, fuck them people. Get yourself together.
But it's like a reality check, right? And that's why I think that people need to have more grace with people when it comes to
100%.
menopause, because how many people, you have a friend and you're like, damn, this bitch can't remember shit, but
Right.
she's going through stuff. So maybe she
Right.
forgot your birthday, or something that you thought was important to you, and so I be forgetting stuff. I'm like, do you people like? Do you know that I can't remember things like from one moment to another? So I have to
Just like I
write it
couldn't
down.
remember the ending of this
Everything.
podcast.
Look,
Just like I just couldn't remember. But on that note,
on that note, you know where to find us on social media: Instagram, Facebook at Little State Big Voices. Where will we not be, Shahida? Still,
on TikTok. I'm
motherfucking TikTok.
I'm trying not to curse as much, but it's not working. So I'm saving my cursing for real good times.
But until
So
But
then,
then,
I think you've been saying what you've been saying about the TikTok the way you've been saying it. So I think you should just keep it for that.
come on, Shahida, one good time.
Yeah, just give it to
motherfucking
us.
TikTok. Not
Where won't
fucking
we be?
motherfucking TikTok. Motherfucking TikTok. Fuck TikTok. No. All right. See you ladies. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.